delivery. Alright mates, it's Mumen Rider here, and today's a special episode because I get to do my first bike review on the most hottest talked about bike right now, the Triumph Trident 660. Now, I want to do a special shout out to Moto, Ohio, European bikes out here in Ohio. So if you are in the area, perhaps come look at their bikes and buy one. Yeah, so I cannot memorize all these specs, so I'm just going to use my phone and I'm just going to read it out and keep it simple. All right, this bike. All right, so we're rocking a 660cc liquid cooled 6-speed manual gearbox, of course. It has a claimed 80 horsepower at 10,250 RPM, 47 foot-pounds of torque. It has Showa 41 millimeter forks for the front suspension. It's got Showa RSU monoshock for the rear. It's using dual Nissan 2-piston calipers on the front. It does come with ABS, and it's using a single caliper 225 millimeter rear disc for the rear brake. What else are you guys going to care about? Let's see here. 55.2 wheelbase. The seat height is 31.7 inches, so any shorter riders won't have any trouble with this one. We've got a 3.7 gallon fuel capacity, so that's high. We've got Michelin Road 5 tires, a 120/70 on the front, a 180/55 on the back. I've heard good things about this tire. I don't have any personal experience with them, so I guess we'll find out. It's got a claimed 417 pounds wet. It has a around 53.5 mile per gallon rate. From a little bit of research and other reviews I've watched, everyone's going to get something a little different. This comes optional. You can add it. You can add heated grips, a quick shifter, and we're going to take a look at the bike. This bike is in the sapphire black color. It also comes in a crystal white, a matte jet black and silver ice, which is probably my favorite, and also a silver ice and Diablo red, which is probably going to be like my second favorite. All right, so that's about all your little specs. We all know specs don't matter too much because it's all about how she feels in between the legs. The competition for this bike, there's a lot here. So we have every beginner recommended bike that this goes up against. We have the Suzuki SV650, Yamaha MT-07, the Kawasaki Z650, the Ninja 650, and the Honda CB650R. We're gonna ride this, put our spin on it, see if it stacks up against the competition. Let's go ride.
Hello, lads. It's your friendly neighborhood Mumen Rider. Right, gotta get this off me chest. So when I was recording this, I took the mic and I plugged it directly into my action camera, and I did it without the adapter, so I got absolutely no fucking volume whatsoever. Right, so I'm gonna have to do a voiceover, and you'll have to forgive me, lads. But we do learn from our mistakes. It's the best way of learning anyway. So, let's get on with it. Now, as soon as I got on this bike, I just noticed how it felt so toy-like and light to me. Okay? coming from my F900, which is a bit heavier than this, quite a bit heavier than this, it felt very toy-like, very friendly, very easy to manage, very easy to move around. In that regard, for a beginner, I'd say it is quite good. Quite fucking good. Overall, this bike just felt very manageable, friendly, not friendly to the point where it was, say, as slow as a 300cc bike or anything like that. Still in its 650 class. It still got poke. It still got power. But overall, it is a, just power making wise, nearly perfect. All right. Just me opinion. So, right here, you're going to notice I hit a bump, and then we're going to talk about suspension. Bang. Okay, right there. I don't know if you noticed, like my fucking hand came off the handlebar a little bit. Don't fault me for that one. It jarred me. I did not expect this. But the suspension on this bike, I wouldn't exactly say is soft. It was stiff. I don't know if this was just my testing model. I doubt it. It came out the factory, the way the factory made it. But I would not say this bike has a soft suspension. It is quite stiff. It wasn't just that bump. That bump, I wouldn't even say was that big of a bump. But throughout this test ride I was doing, I did notice I felt a lot of the bumps on the ground. Now, I do think that is a pro. I think the suspension's put in a place where a more seasoned rider can throw this thing around. That's why I was saying literally this as I was riding, and swerving around on the bike. But a seasoned rider could take this and chuck it around in the twisties and be just fine. I don't think the suspension is going to fail them. All right. The suspension, though, is not stiff to the point where as soon as you go over a bump, your ass is going to be bucked off the seat 5 inches or anything like that. But I wouldn't say it's soft. In my opinion, it is not soft, right? So I did have a few limitations riding this bike here. I could not test it on the highway much at all because it's brand spanking new and I had to keep it under a certain RPM as the dealership told me to do. So as far as wind buffeting and talking about stuff like that, the fastest I get this bike is in between 50 to 60 miles an hour. And at that speed, I never felt too much wind. It is a naked bike, so I imagine you start pushing to the high 60s, 70s, 80s on the highway, you will feel that wind. That's true of any naked. I don't even really have to say this, but going at the highest speeds I could take this bike, felt fine. I mean, the wind is going to come right to your chest and fucking head. It's a naked bike. What do you expect? So right here, we pull into a park. That way I could simulate some not too aggressive curvy roads. You'll notice my mate's already fucking gone. I don't know why we were gunning it the way we were in this bloody park. But, don't fault me. I was just testing the bike, right? I was just testing the bike. But this bike felt very good here. The handling of it, it's good. It's very, very good. You can toss it into corners just fine. It goes around the curves just fine. It's very compliant. It will tip over as much as you want it to. Here I go gunning it again. So the whole theme with this bike here is just how smooth. I said it multiple times while I was talking and not getting the audio, but the way the power comes on is never scary. It never scared me. There were times I pulled that throttle straight back. It never jerked. It comes on very progressively and very smooth. I'll do this multiple times. You'll see some more clips here where I just accelerate and whatnot. But here coming up soon, I'll do some low speed maneuvering. Talk about that. Yeah, let's see here. So, I mean, the power of this bike for what it is doing in the market and people it's shooting at, I would say it's damn near perfect. It's damn near perfect. This little triple they've made here, this little baby RS, essentially, is, mate, it's a gem. It's a gem. So, right here, just going kind of slow, seeing how it feels, going kind of slow. Who fucking cares, mate? We don't care about that. Well, listen here. The F900R I ride now is a heavy little baby, okay? I wouldn't exactly say it's hard to manage at lower speeds, but see how nimble this is? That's why I was kind of just, chucking her around a little bit. This bike, while going slow, some kind of parking lot speeds here, it felt fine. It felt fine, dare I say, because of its lightness, even better than my very own bike. It felt very good. It never scared me. It was very approachable, very very approachable. Now here we're gunning it down a little more. There we go. There we go. Why we're doing these speeds in a park? Don't ask me. I'm just testing the fucking bike out. Got to give me opinion out to the people so they can make informed decisions about this motorcycle. So we get off, we start riding. Here I start talking about the TFT a little bit. This TFT you're seeing right here while I was riding wasn't actually set at the brightest setting, and it was still quite visible. So visibility with this TFT was never an issue. I was never needing to, take my attention off the road to see what the TFT was trying to tell me. It's very easy to read, very legible. Just tells you the gear indicator there at the square on the bottom, the RPMs at the top, and the speed. Now here I'm kind of putting my hand near the engine. At this point I was riding for a little over 30 minutes, and I was feeling no sort of discomfort as far as heat around my legs or anything like that. Right here, we're going to talk about the comfort of this bike. All right, listen close. This bike is surprisingly comfortable. I did not think I was going to be as comfortable as I was on this bike. Okay, the way the seat lines kind of go into the narrowness of the tank is perfect. It's perfect, right? Your bottom, other than being sweaty in the summer, is going to be perfectly fine. See, that's why I'm looking down at my legs. You'll notice my legs are quite narrow there, and it almost feels like my knees are touching together. The tank allows for your knees to definitely pinch in towards the tank. Very comfortable bike. The connection you feel body to bike is very good. I mean, you ride any bike long enough and you'll feel this connection, right? But my lower body definitely felt like it was a part of the bike. The connection there was solid. I'm going to gun it just a bit more here. Let's see. Just gunning it. Where is it? It's going to come up here soon. I know it is. There we go. Couldn't go crazy with that bike there, that whole RPM deal. But yes. Anytime I accelerated like that and pushed the bike just a little bit, it was very enjoyable and never scary. Never too crazy. Here we go, doing it again. Yep, here we go. Very enjoyable bike. If there was audio to this video while I was riding, you would hear me talk about the way the power is delivered and comfort so much. You'd probably give me the fucking bird, turn the video off, and tell me to fuck off. All right, here, I was talking about how this bike is kind of directly in the middle. See, that's what I'm doing with my hands there. Bang. This bike is right in the middle, I'd say, power delivery-wise, in between an MT-07 and a CB650R. Whereas the CB650R, you got to wring that sucker out to get it up to its higher RPMs and feel the power up higher, versus the MT-07 is a little wheelie happy monster where you're going to feel that pull right off the lot. This is right in the middle. So if in your head even thinking, man, I kind of want something, a little bit of both, the best of both worlds, something that's right in the middle, think no more, mate. I really do think this here may just be the bike for you. So right here, I was talking about the environments I was riding this bike around in. Now at home, it felt, now at stop and go traffic, it never felt cumbersome. It felt easy to manage. And now if you're riding this bike around in neighborhoods, suburbs, towns, cities, it is fucking spot on, mate. It's spot on. Honestly, it's a fucking gem. It's a gem. Got used to it so quick. Got attached to it so quick. Tearing up as I had to roll the bike back in. Had to give it back to the dealership. I was like, fucking hell, man. If only Mumen was stacked, I'd fucking buy it for the hell of it. But whatever. Alright. So yeah, like I said, man, for town riding, all that stuff, there's anything but the highway, it's gonna be just fine. Even on the highway, I'm sure you could do quick stints and hop on and off just to, rest a bit. But I think you can be on this bike for a good amount of time and be perfectly fine. So now, me and me mate, we're pulling into a bloody school parking lot. Here, I included this clip because I wanted to talk about some people like using 2 fingers on the clutch and the brakes. And I'd been trying this a little bit on the bike up until now. And I noticed I couldn't exactly do it. Now, I'm sure in the future you could get like aftermarket or whatever, set it up, make it perfect for you to do whatever you want with the bike. That's fine. A bike, for me, as I found stock, the 2-finger clutching wasn't working too well for me. It jerked the bike around a lot because I wasn't using the clutch perfectly. So as you see here, I've gone back to using 4 fingers to grab that clutch back in and pull it in. So 2-finger clutching, guys, it's just a small thing, probably not a big deal at all. It wasn't working too well for me. Here I just roll on that throttle, and I done it past the yellow light because that little blue Civic up there, my mate, I couldn't lose him. Yeah, I could. Where the fuck am I supposed to put my phone to find my way back? I don't have a mount. I don't have a phone mount. Couldn't lose him. Yeah, me going fast here. You'll have to excuse that. Right, so the next thing I wanted to talk about, I'd say, is the brakes. All right, the brakes on this bike. Now, I am coming off a bike with much more powerful brakes with a whole Brembo strong system on there. The Brembo the Brembo brakes on my F900R bite down super hard, and they stopped that bike real quick. Okay, I hadn't gotten used to the brakes on this bike, so you can't see this because I've cut some of the clips out, but I would pull real close up to the Civic you see there, my mate's car's bumper, because I wasn't used to the brakes. It's not a big deal. I got used to it pretty quickly, but I'd say that's the only very, very small ding I would give this bike during this impression is the brakes they're not fantastic. That was to be expected. They're not terrible either. I'm absolutely not saying that, but the brakes they're okay. They're okay. They're above average. Not bad, not great. For the price you are paying for this bike, okay, you're paying $8,000, not including, certain fees and title and registration and tax and all that shit, okay? But for the price you are paying for this bike, it is fucking bang on, mate. What the fuck? For the price being offered, this bike is damn near, not perfect, but fucking close. But fucking close. Right. Now, I do have one more con I wanted to talk about, a very personal one for this bike. I might get shit for the con I give this bike, but you're going to have to stay tuned. Because this is not a review, mate. It's a first impression. The final review comes after this. You'll have to stay tuned. But yeah, I had been riding for long enough. Felt bad for the dealership. I was like, fuck, man, I don't want to take advantage of these kind folks at Moto, Ohio. Me and my mate, we pulled back in. I get off the bike. He pulls his lovely camera out, get ready to record the final review, give it some thought and whatnot. But mates, you best stay tuned. Stay tuned to Mumen Rider Moto-Vlogs to get the final review of this beautiful Trident. Done.